Belcourt Castle, Rhode Island, United States, is believed to be a haunted castle, but it is what is within the castle that causes the haunting than the castle itself. Oliver Hazard Perry Belmont built this Louis VIII style 60-room castle a little over 100 years ago. He and his wife enjoyed collecting antiques, for which Belcourt Castle boasts a massive collection from all over the world. These antiques may well be the source of the hauntings that made Belcourt Castle famous. Screaming suit of armor. Within the castle is a 17th century suit of Japanese armor. Owner was killed when a spear entered his skull through the eye slit. A crack is still visible in the helmet. A handful of visitors who have tried to peek within the helmet have claimed to see someone's eyes and a face peering out. What makes this armor special is it's said to scream only in 1 month of March, which corresponds to the death of its owner. The screaming armor was also responsible for terrifying one particular castle employee late one night about 30 years ago. She was headed toward the kitchen when she noticed the stained glass light on in the ballroom. She decided to check the ballroom to ensure nothing was disturbed and switch off the lights. As she turned the switch off, she heard a horrifying scream. She turned back toward the room to look around, and the lights were back on by themselves as a second, even louder shriek echoed through the empty ballroom. Haunted Armor Collection. Belcourt Castle is home to a large and varied collection of armor, including the screaming armor. However, it isn't the only haunted item of armor in the collection. Several of these heavy metal suits of armor are known to relocate themselves to different areas of the castle without an explanation. They are moved back to their original position, only to show up somewhere else again. Some suits of armor have been even known to move slightly while visitors are admiring them. Ghostly Monk. One of the more well-known apparitions appearing in the Belcourt Castle is a bearded monk dressed in a heavy brown tunic who happens to look identical to a beautiful and realistic antique wooden carving of a monk within the castle. He used to only appear near the carving, and when the carving would move, so would his appearance. Eventually the carving was moved to the chapel, and the monk no longer appears. He seems to have found peace in the chapel, and now it's at rest. The Gothic Ballroom. Imagine taking a seat in a beautiful antique chair only to feel someone pushing back on you. As you stumble forward, struggling to keep your balance, you turn to apologize to whomever you didn't see. There was no one in the chair, despite the fact you still choose to sit somewhere else. The stunning Gothic ballroom with its high arches and stained glass windows is home to a pair of very haunted chairs. Some feel a slight resistance when they sit down, while others are particularly tossed forward onto the floor about 6 feet away. Witnesses have also reported chills, electric shocks, when they sit in one of the chairs. Others have felt cold and nauseous the instant they sit down. Once a group of 70 visitors on a tour of the castle all witnessed what looked like a bolt of lightning shoot forth from one of the chairs. These antique chairs were referred to as salt chairs, as they were used exclusively by the kings, so it may well be that the commoners and peasants are not welcome to sit in them. Haunted Mirror. The music room of the Belcourt Castle is said to be home to a haunted mirror, notorious for unnerving guests and employees alike. Consider how you would react if you looked into a mirror and saw the reflection moving around, though you are quite still, or seeing items behind you vibrate when you turn around. They are stationary. Often unsmiling witnesses glimpse their reflection smiling back at them, or the reflection is not there at all, yet the ballroom and people behind you are visible in the mirror. Belcourt is filled with haunted items, including all too lively suits of antique armor. Be careful of the chairs, as they might not want you to sit in them, and don't be distressed if one of the mirrors isn't reflecting reality. It seems the ghostly dizziness of the American castle aren't particularly dangerous unless you are susceptible to heart attacks.